Well, Jenna, did I ever tell you I once lived in Kansas?
Oh,
Just
no.
kidding.
God, where?
Just kidding. Just kidding. Never even been to Kansas.
Shorter list of places you didn't live.
Just joking. But no, look, I'm sure that the North Carolina players will forever remember this as a game, a championship that got away from them, that they gave away. When you're up 15, up 16 at one point, that's how you're going to feel. But I really believe that this was more about Kansas taking the game and their comeback more so than about a North Carolina collapse. All right, you saw early in the game, Kansas, which is the better team, jumps out to a big league 7-0, 9-3. And I honestly think subconsciously they may have relaxed a bit because there was a lot of talk and a lot about North Carolina not being up for this game. Kind of crazy since it's a national championship, but them being physically and emotionally exhausted and spent after the big win over Duke in the semifinal. So Kansas, if you look at the first few minutes where they jumped to the big lead, and then the rest of the first half, almost two different teams. You know, Kansas wasn't very physical. They can't finish in the paint. And it was like once they saw, okay, North Carolina's here to play, they really couldn't regroup as things were happening on the court. But once they went back wilds for halftime, got to relax, got to breathe again, they were able to right themselves, and they were a completely different team in the second half. Obviously, started with a 31-10 run in the first 10 minutes. It started with Dave McCormick getting that huge dunk on the first possession of the second half, which really set the tone. And if you saw, they couldn't finish in the paint in the first half. Second half, they lived in the paint, whether it was McCormick with jump hooks, Christian Braun driving to the hole, finishing with layups, or being more aggressive defensively, which forced Carolina turnovers, and then they were able to get out in transition and get layups. Couple that, Wilds, with Remy Martin's three-point shooting. All right, three threes. Each one of them broke a tie. So you got inside dominance, defensive aggressiveness, and then timely three-point shooting. That's why Kansas won. North Carolina didn't give it away. Kansas Wilds took it.
I mean, they kind of gave it away. They kind of give it away. They played a little like coastal Carolina, like up-paced and fast. Like, no, they just kind of coasted a little bit. And I'm going back into the scorebooks, Nick. Even though I'm also trying to get you a NBA MVP vote, I'm going to put that on the back burner because I'm making this McCormick dunk. I'm making this worth 6 points. It only goes down as 2 points. For Kansas, it's here we go again, where, like, you know what? We were down at half against Miami. We stormed back, and we ended up stopping them. For North Carolina, they were up big on Baylor. And next thing you know, it's in overtime. Once my man gets kicked out, and Baylor pushes it to overtime. So I think it's a little bit, Manic. Honestly, Colin's bad tweet threw me off there. I was like, Manic. I was thinking of the Bengals. I apologize.
Manic Monday. No.
So anyways, I think the big comeback that North Carolina feared that was in them. They gave up the lead, and then Bill Self at halftime was like, "Hey, guess when else we came back? When I won the championship in 2008 and Mario Chalmers hit that shot." So I think it was like we've been here before. Good for Kansas, bad for North Carolina.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go small to big. I'm going to start with a tiny moment that could have been a massive moment, and for millions of us out there was a massive moment. DeJuan Harris, the Kansas player that stepped on the sideline. If you're ever in New York City, buddy, drinks are on me because you saved Carolina +4. Thank you. For all the gamblers out there, thank you, DeJuan, because if he doesn't step on the sideline, he gets fouled. Kansas wins by 5, and it's a very different Nick Wright mood this morning. So thank you, DeJuan Harris. Another tiny moment that was massive. Manic, listen, I think Manic, if it was kind of weird to see. In the NFL, Manic would have been out of this game in the concussion protocol early. In college basketball, they're like, seems okay to me. Let him keep going. So I'm not going to criticize him because he's helped them so much. But he missed this rebound with 1:20 left And I thought it was the single biggest play of the game. They're up one. He can't quite get there. All of a sudden, Kansas goes up one, and that ended up being, by the way, the difference. I mean, it was North Carolina finished on 69. So that was a moment that, to me, was maybe the single biggest bucket of the game. And Dusty pointed this out. Listen, Carolina ran out of gas. If the NCAA tournament, instead of being, 6 40-minute games, was 5 40-minute games and 1 20-minute game, they're the champs. But their starters, their 5 starters in this tournament played 1,056 of the possible 1,200 minutes. And you saw it at the end. There's a 5-man team. The one sub actually gave them some good life there. And it was just they ran out of gas. And the NCAA tournament history says teams over the last decade whose starters have played as much as Carolina's, except for Virginia, which plays a snail's pace, they always lose in the title game. But my final takeaway, and Brew, I want to throw this to you, because you and I both have kids older than the players in this game. My final takeaway is last night's game is one of the reasons that I'm kind of glad on this show we focus so much on pro sports, is I felt, I know this sounds corny, as a parent, I don't really totally enjoy watching high-intensity college basketball because I just find myself feeling sick for the other team. I did bet Carolina, but set that aside. I didn't have a real rooting interest.
Not that sick.
I felt like Caleb Love, for instance. Caleb Love is younger than my son. He's younger than your 2 daughters. Caleb Love was the reason Carolina got here. How long's this game going to haunt him? 40 years? I mean, I'm watching and I'm like, oh my God, my heart, like, for some reason I'm able to, move some of those feelings outside of it once guys are pros. But for a college national championship game to be this close, come down to just Manic, I'm pointing out his missed offensive rebound, those things, I just feel sick about it. Like, I'm not able to fully enjoy the viewing experience, as odd as it sounds, because I'm finding myself empathizing for these kids because they're so young. And so it was a great game, but yeah, those images legit kill me. I'm just it's hard to watch them. So as much as I love March Madness, it's almost hard for me to enjoy it.
Nick, first of all, thank you for sharing with our viewing audience the kinder, gentler Nick Wright. They're just thinking of the guy that throws daggers at Kevin Durant, second this, second that. You got a heart, brother, and I like it. I'm with you. Look, they're kids. That's why I said for a lot of these guys, this is their last college game, right? A lot of them won't go to play overseas. Obviously, most of them won't go to play in the NBA. So, yeah, I hear where you're coming from on that. But that was nice to see, man. Kudos.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.